Adrian in Texas.
Hi, Adrian.
Did I actually hit the button? Let's hit the button again. All right, Adrian in Texas.
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, it's such a honor to speak to Anthony Magnabosco and V.
What can we help you with today?
I know that you don't have a lot of time, so I'll just start from the beginning, since this is the first time I've talked to Anthony. I believe in a designer God because of the evidence around us that appears to be designed, like the moon, and there's DNA, and the distance that the Earth is from the sun, and the position, the tilt of the Earth, and the magnetic field, and the ozone layer.
Those are certainly all things. So let's pick one. Let's pick, because at this point we're going to be like, we're going to be shooting all over the place if we're trying to talk about all of this. And of course, neither of us are scientists. I don't think, Anthony, unless you have a degree that you're not.
I don't have a degree. No, I don't have a degree in that field, unfortunately. But I'm a little curious. Why is this your go-to argument to show that God is real? Is this the knockout, drag down argument that you have to support your claim? Were you less sure God was real before you discovered this argument? Why are we talking about this argument first?
Okay,
we get a lot of calls about the designer argument on these shows.
Okay, that was a lot of questions there. Can you kind of narrow it down to one there, or maybe?
How important is this reason for you thinking that God is real?
How important is this reason?
Mm-hmm. If we spent the next 20 minutes talking about the designer argument, and you came to the realization that this is not a good argument, I need to stop using this, would you be less sure God was real?
But that sounds different from the first question. But I thought from the first question you were asking me, maybe like if it's a hobby, or like a hobby to me to go looking for God. Like,
no.
It is a hobby to me.
No, that wasn't it. I'm trying to assess how important this reason is for you thinking God is real. And if this is a big reason that would impact your confidence, if we discovered that it's a bad reason, then I want to talk about it. But if it's not going to impact your confidence, I want to talk about something else. But I'm curious. Before we spend all this time talking about the design argument, which has been done a lot on this show and other ACA shows, which we can do, I just want to know if we're actually talking about something that would impact your confidence that God was real.
Yes, I think it would, and I would appreciate it if you didn't. If you didn't like kind of pile me in with everyone else, because I have my own thoughts, and they might be different from what you've heard before.
That's a fair point. It very well be different. I may have just made an assumption that you're going to give us a typical sort of design argument. But the point here, though, it sounds like, is that this argument is important for you thinking God is real. And if that's the case, then I'm definitely interested in going down that road with you. So, sure.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start this conversation then, and I will kind of let Anthony lead this, since it says in the notes that you're a big fan of Anthony. So I'll let you guys have a conversation, but I do want to make sure that maybe we focus on where you differ from the argument. So you said, please don't let me in with other people. I have my own thoughts about this argument. We've heard the designer argument many times, and we have our standard way that we go about talking about that. But if you have a different take, or if you're bringing something new to the table, that is something that I know I'd be interested in hearing. So let's kind of focus this onto one portion of the designer argument, whether you want to talk about the moon or the tilt of the earth or tides or DNA or any of those things. Let's pick one, and then I'll let you guys have at it.
Sounds good.
Sure. I guess I'll go first, since I got to present my evidence first. So I know there's a lot of evidence that points to a designer in nature, but we could start with DNA, because there's experts like Richard Dawkins that are saying that are comparing it to computer science.
Okay, so I know I said I was going to let Anthony take this, this, and I will. I promise,
Go
Anthony,
ahead.
you will.
Yeah,
But I do want to just make sure, once and for all, guys, stop pulling that quote out of context. If you read The Blind Watchmaker, if you read the book, then you would know for sure where he was coming with that quote. You are pulling half of that quote and not the second half, where he says, but it is not designed. It is not code. It is not computer code. So we understand that you're trying to get that in because you're like, oh, well, Dawkins says this. I don't really care what Dawkins says. Like, he was fun to read when I was coming out of the faith, but like, I don't wait to hear the next thing that comes out of his mouth. So I may just disagree with him. But second, it's a dishonest tactic. So once and for all, we had this a couple weeks ago. We had this a month ago. This keeps coming up. Let's cut it with the quote. Continue.
Okay. Yes, I realize you think that I'm taking it out of context, and I would just like to know what context do you think I should take that in when he says that something appears to be designed, and I think you're kind of taking it out of context because he didn't say that it wasn't designed. That he said that he doesn't know why it looks designed.
We don't really care what anyone said, even Richard Dawkins. Okay, so the key thing here, though, is why do you think it's important enough to bring up? Is it part of your? If it's part of your argument, then tell us what you think this guy said and why we should consider it as being useful for giving your argument more weight or something.
Okay, yes, and all other kind of arguments all over the world. Whenever there's an expert that is biased in the opposite direction, and then he says something that is he's saying that it appears to be designed, but he doesn't even believe in a God, right? I think that is the most important, the most convincing thing to me. Because
so you're pinning your argument about the designer God on a Richard Dawkins quote? That seems risky. Half of a Richard Dawkins quote? Because if we're not moving on from the quote, if we get hung up on this, then I'm going to move on to the next caller because we've had this conversation. If you want to stay on the call and talk with Anthony, I highly recommend you move on to the next topic.
Can I repeat back what I think you're saying, Adrian? I think you're saying, this is what I think you're saying. Because it looks designed, we're justified in thinking it's designed.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. That's the argument. Is that it? Wow.
Yes, sir. I think we are justified in let's see. Everything appears to be the way. I guess my first premise would be everything appears to be the way it is until proven otherwise, or everything is the way it appears to be until proven otherwise. I'm sorry.
If we realize that we have no way of demonstrating otherwise, does it make sense to accept the initial premise?
I think so. Like say if I were to think that V was a man or something, then would I be justified in believing that V was a man before I actually found out that she was a woman?
Let's pick it. I was thinking of a different topic here. I was thinking of something simple, like if you'll allow me.
Sorry, continue.
I was thinking like putting a turkey in the oven, and you think that it's done because it sure looks brown and it's been in there for 4 hours. And when I open up the oven, this blast of heat hit me. It looks like it's done, but let's say that my thermometer for sticking it into the carcass and taking the inner temperature is not working, or I lost it. I think it's your position that we would be fine accepting our perception that based on the appearance that the turkey is done, but because I don't have a way to test it, I'm fine accepting it to be the case.
Yes, if you have enough things that appear to be done about the turkey, like if there's, burnt knees or something, I don't know, with a burnt thigh or whatever, then that, or if you push it a certain way with your finger or something, then that makes it done. Or if you maybe throw it against the wall and it sticks or something, and
like spaghetti.
It's done that way
yeah.
too or
so what you're describing you're describing things that we can do to demonstrate that our hypothesis is either factually correct or not. And would it be wise to serve that turkey to people? I guess we could still do it, right? And people can get sick, but would it be wise to say undeniably that turkey is done because I can actually observe it and it seems like the oven's working and all that? Does it make sense to conclude that something is true when we can't verify it to be the case? Even though it may look like it is the case.
If there's enough things, I think we're justified.
Okay. So how did you look at the universe, or you look around you, you look at the trees, you notice design, you realize perhaps that you actually can't test it to see that it's not the case, but you're just going to go with it anyways. Why are you even taking a position on it? Why wouldn't you say, I'm not exactly sure why this has the appearance of design? Why? That's what I'm curious about. Generally, when I meet people who make this argument, and honestly, what you're telling me is not different than what we hear from other people about the design argument. I hate to break it to you, but why? Yeah. So can you answer that question, please, for me?
Yes. Let me see. Dang it, I forgot the question. Go ahead. It was.
Why are you going the extra step to say it looks designed, and therefore I'm going to conclude that it was, and it's this specific God? You didn't go that far yet, and it's this specific God that designed it. Why can't you say, well, it sure looks like that turkey's done?
Oh, okay. I remember.
But I'm not exactly sure why. Why do you go the extra step to give it an explanation?
Yeah, I'm okay with saying I don't know. I just feel like the time to say I don't know is when you have zero evidence to go by. And I just feel like I'm far from that at this point.
Yeah, you look around, you see, if I understand right, evidence to you is looking around and seeing what looks like the appearance of design. That's good enough to say that it was designed.
Oh, yes. Right. And I listed some of the things earlier. I don't know if you
did, yeah. What are people who don't think that this is designed, or say, you know what, sure freaking looks designed, but I'm not going to go that far to say it definitely was designed? What are they missing? Take me through it. What are people who don't go the step that you're going through and saying, well, it is designed? What are we missing? Why aren't we? What's holding us back from joining you to say it was designed?
Yes, and I'm not saying that everybody can see it. Like, there's everybody, there's blind people, there's people that can't see things. And those people, they have to rely on the people that can see things and on the experts that are saying that they can also see the design in that.
As far as I know, physically, Adrian and V and myself, we're probably all about the same in terms of our mental abilities and our physical abilities, I suppose. What are we missing? What are we lacking? Where we're not, and I don't think I think V and I are on the same page here. What are we missing? Why are you going the extra step? What's holding us back from joining you to say that was definitely designed?
Well, what I thought an atheist was someone that lacked the evidence in order to believe. So that's why I'm here, is to present that evidence so that maybe you have a chance to believe.
Hold on a second. Your evidence was the appearance of design. That was good enough for you to say it's designed. We're not there. I might even say, you know what? Kind of looks designed. All those people who are calling into the ACA shows, kind of looks designed a little bit to me, but I'm not willing to say that it is. Help me get to your position where I can say, you know what? Freak it. Yeah, it's designed. What am I missing to get to what do I need?
What do you need? You just need
what do you have? Let me rephrase it. What do you have that's brought you to the conclusion, other than you observing it and saying, well, it looks designed? Is that all you have? Are you looking at design and saying, yep, it looks designed, that's good enough for me? Or is there something more that you're bringing to it? Is it as simple as that?
That's all I've presented so far. Yeah, it is. It is that simple. I think. I mean, it's supposed to be simple. I mean, things that are, usually things that are the right, the right thing. It's simple. The answers are usually simple.
Do you think that the conclusion that you're arriving at is not as well supported as you would like it to be? Do you wish that you had better evidence than the evidence that you're currently using?
Well, that's why I present it to atheists. I think they would be the best to I guess, be skeptical about my evidence and give me the best, I guess, feedback on it.
Well, if I understand right, your evidence is it looks that way, so I'm going to just think that it is.
Okay. Is that
right? So
I'm epistemologically wrong about that? Or?
Well, here's my question for you, Adrian. It feels to me like you don't actually want your evidence evaluated skeptically, because if you did, you would do research and talk to scientists, right? You wouldn't call into a random show with two people who don't have science degrees to talk about your scientific claim. If you were really serious about trying to get to the bottom of whether or not this was good evidence, then you'd have more than half of a Dawkins quote, right? So there's a different reason why you're calling. I'm just calling you out on that.
I watch more shows than just Talk Heathen. I mean,
sure. But you're calling in to talk to us. And as cool as Anthony and I are, we're not going to be able to give you all of the scientific reasons why your particular claims may or may not be as simple as they sound. So,
okay.
Adrian, can I try one more thing? Let me just try one more thing before we get to another caller here.
I watched.
Well, I'm going to plug on. Let me bulldoze through this just to get this out.
Go ahead.
Gosh, I hope I don't forget it. Crap. I think I forgot it. But it was something about design. Okay, I know what I was going to say. Could something naturally occurring appear to be designed?
Something naturally occurring appear to be designed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you would have to have evidence to prove it.
You need evidence to prove that. Do you need more evidence would you need evidence to prove your conclusion?
Yes.
Right? Like, so you look at something and it appears to be designed. If I understand your point, if I say it's designed by a god, I can stop there and be satisfied with that. If it's a naturally occurring...
Oh, no. No, never be satisfied. Remember, I think I learned that from you. Never be satisfied, because then you will never... You will stop learning at that point, right?
Well, I'm glad that you
so
got that.
I'm not saying that I can't be wrong or something like that.
Okay.
I'm just saying that my confidence is really, really high.
Yeah. But there's at least two outcomes here. I don't know how much more time we want to spend on this, because I see we have somebody named Crystal maybe we want to get on. But
yeah,
you look around, something could be naturally occurring and look designed, and something could be designed and look designed. And it seems to me that you acknowledge that something could be naturally occurring and look designed, but in that instance, you need a little bit more evidence to conclude that that's the case. More so evidence, you'd need more evidence to accept that it was naturally occurring but looks designed than you would to say, well, it looks designed, therefore I'm going to conclude that it was designed and I'm done. That's what I hear you saying, that you may be using a different standard.
I'm never done, Anthony. I'm never done.
Good. That's a great answer.
Okay. Well, if you want to continue not being done next week, we are here to talk more. But we do have to move on. We are running short on time. We need to thank our patrons and get to a couple more callers. But thanks for calling in,
Adrian. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. It was an honor to talk to you guys. Yes.
Awesome. Have a good rest of your day.
I hope it gives that a little bit more thought, because what I notice is that people tend to give a little bit more leeway to the claims that they like to be the case. And I'm wondering if that's like, was his standard for accepting the claim that this design happened from a god a little bit more leeway maybe than if it was naturally causing? All right.
Well, right. If his argument is, if it appears to be, then it is until proven otherwise. But he also admits that things can appear designed that are not. yeah, then you've got that discrepancy there.
Oh yeah. By the way, I shifted subjects from like gender and stuff to like turkeys. So I hope you don't mind me doing that. But I was like, we don't need to go there.
Anthony and the crowd control is like, oh, nope, we're good. It's funny to me that he was trying to make a point about being right and he was wrong both times. But I was just amusing myself. You probably steered us in a direction that was more productive.
Okay, I hope so.